Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. As you can see, we're not in the shop today. Mrs. Jim the Car Guy's battery is dead in her car, so we're going to change the battery here in the driveway at home. Alright, now I will tell you this. Normally I would put a booster pack on the cigarette lighter inside to keep the memory on the radio, but in this case it doesn't really matter because the battery it's stone dead, so that we already had lost the memory anyway. So we're not going to save the memory. But if you were going to save the memory on your radio, now is the time you'd want to plug your booster pack into your cigarette lighter and plug it and turn the key to the on position so you would save the memory. The radio code is already lost in this case, but I will show you how to put the code back in so that you can get your radio back on if you were to lose your battery power. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, we have our replacement battery right here. That's our new battery. This is the dead battery here. And what we're going to do first is we're going to take off this bracket right up on top right here. And then we're going to take off our negative cable and our positive cable. So first thing we'll do, take out your screw. This piece here, this plastic little clip just pops over the top of it. So we're just going to move that to the side like that. This we're going to take out, and I'm going to show you how this comes out in a second, but let me just get it out first and then I'll explain what I did. You see the little hook right here? That hook fits into, there's a small hole on the bottom of the battery hold down. This piece connects over that hook and it holds it up tight to keep it from moving around. So we're just going to take this, put it off to the side right now, and then we're going to disconnect the battery from the car. Now, this is 10 millimeter, and what I always do, now this battery is dead, so we don't really have to worry about it, but normally you would always take off your negative cable first. The problem is if you're on here trying to take your positive cable off, and this ratchet was to slip and hit something on the car that was made of metal, you would have sparks all over the place and you run the possibility of blowing up the battery. By disconnecting the negative cable, now nothing in the car is negative anymore. So we're going to take that negative cable off and we're going to relocate it out of the way so it can't come back by accident. And now we can take off our positive, and it doesn't matter if this touches anything because now the entire car has no power in it whatsoever, no negative power in there whatsoever. So we're going to loosen that up. We're going to take this cable as well off like this. This little plastic cover comes off. A lot of people throw these away. I never do. I always keep them in there because it protects the battery from all the road debris and the road salt and everything else. We're going to take our battery and we're going to lift it out of here. We're going to put our replacement battery back in the same location. Make sure that your battery box did not move. We're going to take our plastic cover, put it back over the top, just like this. Make sure it pushes all the way down till it's flush. Okay, now you make sure your cover is back down. This is to protect it again. Now we're going to take our our hold down, and we're going to slide it through the bottom, and then we're going to bring it up and around. Going to screw our hold down back down. Now, this does not have to be real tight. Just snug it down to hold the battery from moving around. And now we're going to reconnect our cables. Make sure you put the cables on the correct side of the battery. We know that this was positive over here. So we're going to put it back on like this. And then we're going to tighten up that positive lead. And if the terminal ends are corroded or oxidized, you want to clean them before you put them back on. Nice and tight. We're back down. Going to take our negative cable, and we're going to tighten that up. We're going to put that little plastic clip back on that holds your harness out of the way so it doesn't get accidentally worn a hole through it. Okay, now we'll go back inside the car and make sure it starts up. As you can see, now it does start right back up. Now I just want to point this out to you too. I'll take the camera. Did you get my phone?
Phone?
Yeah. Okay, now as you can see, we're going to turn the radio on. It needs to have the code entered to get it to charge the. We need to put the code back in order to get the radio to come back on. So let me do that. And that's it. So now our radio is back on again. And now we just have to reset our time. And the way you reset your time is you press the you see it blinking. What time is it now?
10:12.
Alright, so it's 10. And then this one is minutes. And that's it. Turn this. And that's it. We're all set. Okay, so as you can see, putting a car battery in is really not that difficult. It's fairly simple. Just make sure you follow these simple directions and you should not have a problem. Remember, your positive cable goes on first. Your negative cable always goes on last. So that way you don't slip and accidentally bang the positive side into anything on the vehicle that's negative. And that's it. The battery's fairly easy and you know, out the door. Like I said about the oxidation or the corrosion on the cables themselves, if they're dirty or oxidized, you want to use some sandpaper or any kind of like steel wool, or if you have the proper tool to clean it off correctly. Wire brush works really well too. If there's a lot of oxidation on there, like a tremendous amount of oxidation that you can't get out, you take some baking soda and you put it in hot water and you put it into a disposable cup and you take the battery terminal end, well, the battery is out of the vehicle, of course, and you put the battery terminal end into that solution, and that baking soda and hot water solution in there, it'll actually boil. Looks like it's boiling, it's not, but it looks like it's boiling. Well, what is happening is the baking soda is neutralizing the acid that's in the cable itself and around the connectors there too. And by doing that, you'll be able to clean it off. And once you get that oxidation over there and you wipe it down and you know with a clean rag, it'll actually be as if it was brand new again. As far as the radio code, if you have most cars, I'd say almost every car, unless you bought it secondhand and the owner didn't give it to you, they all come with a very small card that looks just like a credit card, and that's the one that has your radio code on there. So then you would just punch the code in. Each radio has a different code. There's no car where it's a 2010 Honda Accord. They're all the same codes. They're not. Each car has an individual code that you will need to put the code into the radio correctly to get it to turn back on. If by chance you don't have that code, then you're going to have to go to a dealership. And the dealership, they may require you to give the serial number on the back of the radio. In other cases, I've had it already where I can just give them the VIN, not the VIN, I'm sorry, the registration for the vehicle, and then they can go ahead and they can give you the code to turn it back on. But you will have to prove who you are and that you own the vehicle, because you know, if somebody was to steal our radio, they could just go to a dealer, say it's theirs, and get the code to turn it back on. But that's it. You should be all set. All right, if you don't know your code and you want to save the memory, that's when you use one of those memory savers. And if you put a memory saver in, you won't lose the memory in the radio, and therefore you won't have to reprogram it at a later date. This one, as I said, the code was already lost because the battery had gone stone dead, so there was no sense in trying to save that code. Alright, so that's it. You're all done. Fairly easy. You may want to jot down when you put the battery in your vehicle so that you have an idea of how long it was in there for. The average battery lasts you anywhere from 3 to 5 years. These batteries, they're very good batteries. They're the interstate batteries what I use. Not that I'm pushing the interstate battery, but that's what I use on my own personal vehicle. Interstate, they do last you a considerable amount of time more. Those batteries, I usually go 5 years before I replace those. All right, that's it. We're all set. All right, let me take this car out, and we're going to do some shopping. Mrs. Jim the Car Guy and I have some errands to do. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.